Right, week 10. We're back.
We are back. Libby left week. He
Yeah,
listened.
we got one. And a tease for a next one with Ross.
Yeah, I'm curious about what it's going to be. Is it going to be like a confessional about how bad of a season he's been having?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Libby's done Zoolander week before. Still always appreciate it. One of the slept on movies.
Might be a little overrated, but only because I just saw it for the first time last year.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those of its time. You had to find it at the right time. I feel the same way about Dodgeball, where I've watched Dodgeball again and been like, yeah, it's fine.
I have not rewatched that one in a while, but I do. Yes, in the moment, that movie was very good.
Very, very funny. Just finished the power rankings before jumping on here. Not a lot changed. So take what you will from Libby's letter. I don't know if we're gonna have too much to say because not a lot changed this week with the teams. So let's get right into the winners and losers of the week. As always, I'm a winner. Tom was hot and finally had kind of a down week. I scored 111 points, which was enough. Got lucky with a Taysom Hill spot start, but I called my shot.
You did. I have to admit, as it was recorded last week, I kind of raised my eyebrows, but your man delivered.
I fortunately don't have to start Nick Chubb this week, so not having to make that decision might help me out. Unfortunately, Raheem Mostert started out pretty hot and then fumbled and then never played again. So that wasn't good.
Your guys delivered, though. Justin Jefferson and Garrett Wilson for like the second week in a row, just carrying your team. I suppose Jaden Daniels, too.
Jaden Daniels was solid. But yeah, I think I said it on our recording because we recorded also on Friday last week that Garrett Wilson scoring 25 on Thursday, and I felt pretty confident going into the week. Those two wide receivers carrying. But I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get to Tom's team on losers, but he had a very fair shot to get me, but that's just how fantasy football works, you know.
You're 7-2.
I don't know. I took a good hard look after you really boggled my mind with potentially picking me, and I'm like, I think he's right. I think I would pick me. Unfortunately, Brian Robinson might just be a dud the rest of the year. It sucks.
Do you want to trade for Ross Neckler?
That might be coming soon. I just don't know who. My bench is so terrible. I can't give up Chubb. I just got him for too cheap, and it's a keeper league. So I would love to try and trade Chubb, but he's just too valuable.
Got to keep that Chubb.
Ross, big win this week.
Win.
A lot of love from Libby in the letter.
I think there's a bit of collusion there.
He kind of swayed me, though. You'll see it in the power rankings. I do think that Ross's team has had a little bit of bad luck. He still starts Jalen Waddle, which is a huge problem. But if DK Metcalf can come back and produce at all, Ross's team is pretty solid. Chase Brown now has the clear starting spot. Patrick Mahomes finally had a good game. He now has a good wide receiver in Hopkins. And Kate Otton's the best player in fantasy football.
This is the late bloomer team. I think that's what you can nickname Ross, is the late bloomer, because
it might be too little too late.
Maybe. And we'll see. I think that there's a lot of bad teams in our league where he could squeak in. But Mahomes has come around because he's more of a late season quarterback. Chase Brown won that committee. And
Drake London's hurt.
Drake London is hurt. But Metcalf's been okay when he's been healthy. I And Kate Otten just appeared out of nowhere as the next coming of Gronkowski.
Pacheco could come back.
Yeah, Pacheco coming back would be nice.
But I mean, Hunt's the best running back in the NFL currently. That's not Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. So.
I don't really want Pacheco to come back, but yes, that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah. Seth squeaks one out over Stefan. These guys are really close in the power rankings. So looking back at this matchup, trying to decide who is the better team, kind of sucks. I mean, Stefan has Lamar Jackson, so he's in it every week. But even after last night, Stefan's probably not going to lose this week. Spoiler alert. Neither are you.
No, no, it could have been even more.
Yes, it could have been more. So Stefan's in every single game. Seth got a huge game from Devon Achane, who might just be good the rest of the year again. Now that Tua's back. Terry McLaurin is a solid wide receiver in the Washington offense. So it's like the depth that Seth has, but the star power that Stefan has, it's tough to kind of divide. Stefan has the points lead for those teams in the bottom 4 spots. I think he has like 30 more points than the next team there.
I think what Seth is missing that Stefan has is the stud number 1 quarterback. And he thought
just
CJ
number 1
Stroud
player.
would be and like I think Seth was banking on CJ Stroud repeating last year. So not much you can do about that.
Yeah, I was listening to a fantasy show earlier, and they said that Stroud and Mahomes have had less top 10 fantasy football week finishes than Daniel Jones.
Ooh. I was waiting for that to be Baker Mayfield, but Daniel Jones.
Baker Mayfield has the second most points in fantasy football to Lamar Jackson, and it's like 20 points off, 20 or 30.
Yeah, that's insane. That just shows that we know nothing when we draft our teams.
We knows nothing. Libby, he's top 3 team in the league. Powerful performance. 117 points. Josh Allen, good. Amon-Ra, solid. Cooper Kupp, back to being solid again. And then Ramondre Stevenson, definitely helped out by that touchdown at the end of the game, but had a pretty good game.
Big bench game too, with Zay Flowers and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Did Zay had a decent game last night, right?
Not really. No, I don't think so. No,
it was what's his name? The Minnesota wide receiver.
Nelson Aguilar.
No, but Bateman. Bateman had
Rashad Bateman.
Yeah. Jackson Smith and Jigma, who was the best wide receiver in fantasy last week, sitting on the bench. He's just really tough to start, but he'll probably get the flex position over Ramondre, I would imagine, for the rest of the season here.
In Libby's letter, he says he doesn't know who to start from his bench, but I also don't think that matters because Josh Allen is really good. Aaron Jones is really good. David Montgomery will get you a solid 10 points no matter what. And having Amon-Ra and Cooper Kupp as your 2 wide receivers is probably second to your set of 2 wide receivers. So I think the bottom half of his lineup really doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. Him storing Flowers, T. Higgins, JSN, and Jameson Williams is crazy. But it almost like handicaps him in a way where obviously he can't start all of them.
Sure.
And none of them are like that much better on a week-to-week basis. So you kind of have to guess right every week.
That's tough because you actually have to put thought into your lineup. My team, I have put 0 thought in my lineup because I have no bench, and everybody in my starting lineup is great. So like I literally do nothing.
Same thing. Set it, forget it. I maybe peek at the waiver wire to grab a defense. I shouldn't have let go of the Chargers defense. I blew that so bad. I've been kicking myself ever since I did that. That's so stupid. I forget what team they were playing in. I think it was Cleveland too. And I was like, Jameis looked really good, whatever. And then they shut him down. Oh, gosh, I'm so dumb sometimes on that.
Well, defenses are hard to predict, but
yep. Lucas, kind of separating himself from that middle of the pack there. Bo Nix, solid again. He has Derrick Henry, much like what we said with Stefan. Derrick Henry is just going to keep him in every single game, although not great last night. I think 15 points, right around there. Darnell
Not
Mooney,
great for Derrick Henry, but good for running back.
Darnell Mooney's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Yeah, the Bears didn't realize that when they were like, oh, we got all these new top targets and stuff like that, that they were also letting the best wide receiver.
They let their best one get away.
In franchise history, leave.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, I think, has been good now 2 weeks in a row, and Devontae Adams has Aaron Rodgers now.
Yeah.
Andy's got Hopkins sitting on the bench. Lucas is powerhouse. Again, like I said, when I was contemplating your thought about picking me, I was like, yeah, Libby's really good. Lucas is really good. I mean, even if Ross sneaks in, like, do you really want to play Ross?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's not time to think about it just yet. But
and then you piled on the worst team in the league. I mean, you just have
took care of business.
An embarrassment of riches. Like, do you start Burrow? Do you start Hurts? Doesn't matter.
That's my toughest decision every week is Burrow versus Hurts, and I may have bungled that this week, but it might not matter. But yeah, that's probably the most thought I put into my lineup.
Yeah. Mixon was good again. Eckler's sitting on your bench. Addison. You dropped Addison, though, didn't you?
No, I dropped Cam Akers because I need to get a kicker because Will Reichert is hurt now. And I had to activate Nico Collins from IR.
Yeah, because he practiced, but he's probably not going to play this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Devonta Smith was good. J.K. Dobbins, still solid. He had that little lull in the middle of the season.
I believed. I kept him in the lineup. I knew he'd come around.
Yeah, losers. Let's do reverse here. Do it out of order here. Sam, Malik Neighbors hasn't been as crazy good. Kyler Murray had a really bad game in a win.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's still starting Travis Etienne. So that's about all you have to say about Sam.
There's nobody else who he can even start though. It's a tough life.
Yeah, Drew, a really bad week for Drew, kind of an aberration. Tank Bigsby, Jaguars just didn't run the ball. So Tank Bigsby bad, Marvin Harrison really bad.
Brian Thomas gets hurt.
Baker kind of came back to earth with only 18 points. Brian Thomas hurt, yeah. But he's got Christian McCaffrey suiting up.
That's his saving grace. I think that Drew is going to be fine.
He's got to start Ladd. What are you doing?
The conch man. You got to get him in there.
Ladd.
But yeah, getting Ladd in there in your flex, starting McCaffrey, I think that trade's finally going to pay dividends for him. So I'm not ready to count Drew out yet. I think this is more of a fluke than actual reality of a bad team. All
right. Nathan has his name on one of the teams in our league. I won't say any more about him. Stefan, we talked about him a little bit. He's got Lamar Jackson. He's got kind of the inside track for that 8 seed with points 4. So if you're one of those lower seeds, you're probably hoping that he gets to 7 through his record, and that battle for the 8th falls to the teams that are more in the 850 range for points 4 currently. I don't know. I think he might kind of stick around that bottom part, but be a high scoring team.
I think he'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Wes, who is currently tied for 9th at 4-5. Bad team. He got 19 points from Rico Dowdle and still only scored 79 points. So I don't know.
Not a good showing from his receivers, and Olave is going to be down now, maybe for a while.
Forever. We'll never play.
Hey, Rashee Rice available? I don't know.
And then Tom, if you would have started the right guys, he beats me.
can he get extra points for Saquon reverse jumping over somebody?
I mean, he had 31
Incredible.
points. How many more points do you want to give him?
I don't know.
I can't believe that I withstood a 31-point performance from Saquon. I thought it was over. I was like, oh, I'm going to lose. And then not a lot of his players played well.
Well, yeah, and even if he starts Justin Herbert instead, I can't math that, but I don't think that makes even a difference. But
it's a 10-point swing, so he's sitting at 103.
Yeah, so not enough.
Yeah, but then if he starts Leggett over Michael Pittman, which, I mean, it would have been tough to know to do that, but Pittman played so poorly that, and Leggett has kind of been a hot name on the waiver market. But if he does that, then he's right there at 103, and it's or 113, and it's tight.
I think Goff versus Herbert is a tough QB decision to make too, because Goff can not be great even with a win, and he's not going to put up huge stats. Herbert can put up huge stats, but he's a bit of a wild card too.
I would have been, of course, I'm a little biased. I would have been a little hesitant. Packers outside, Goff. I probably would have just leaned Herbert against Cleveland, but I mean, again, like you said, it's kind of a crapshoot. What are you going to do? All right. Rankings.
Let me get them up.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, not much different. This is my first time looking at these. This is not too different.
No, I had to keep Sam at the bottom. I moved West to the bottom. I just don't think West is going to make the playoffs. He might. He's 4-5, but he kind of had a hot start.
West is currently very, very much running away in another league I'm in with him. So I'm wondering if he's just completely checked out of this league. I guess I wouldn't blame him.
Could very well be. Yeah. Not a ton of losing streaks. Stefan's lost 2 in a row. But again, I can't rank Stefan like in the bottom 4 because of points 4. Seth and Ross were kind of a toss-up between them. Again, I said I got swayed by Libby, so I put Ross kind of in that top position of those bottom 4 teams. I think that's how it's going to end up. And then we'll see if any one of these top 8 guys drops out. Tom, I had to drop a little bit. Just only scored 93 points. So you're going to get dropped out of there. Nathan's team is still solid, even though he doesn't pay attention. Drew is probably going to start dropping, I would guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Drew's really tough. Those 3, Drew, Nathan, and Tom, are very, very tough because I could see any of those 3 not making the playoffs or staying right where they are.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think I still believe in Drew, probably more than he might, but you never know.
Yeah. I gave Lucas the edge over Libby this week. I kept myself at 2, even though I think in the coming weeks I'm going to start falling. And then I think you'll be probably number 1 the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I know I'll at least win this week thanks to some certain Bengals, but it's just I'm charmed. Libby said it that I'm either really, really bad or really, really good. You're just catching me on a good year. I'm not. Nothing I'm trying that's different. It's just
and you're charmed in the you're just putting up crazy amount of points, and then I'm charmed in the I just play against teams that play very average. Like Saquon had his best game of the year basically, but the rest of Tom's team stunk. So you just get away with stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true. That game was insane last night. I
watched 0 seconds of it.
I did not watch any of it either, but I know that there were some more non-calls on face masks, which seems to be a thing this year.
A lot of pictures on Twitter.
If I start Joe Burrow, though, I think I'm at 75 points already from 2 players. So made the wrong decision there, but Jamar Chase with 50 is insane.
Yes. Jamar Chase,
Oh.
clearly the best wide receiver in the league.
Sorry, Tom. It actually would have been very poetic if I would have started Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and gotten this from them against Tom, who used to be his move. But I got half of that in there.
Yep. So looking ahead, I'm playing Nathan. Nathan has 3 points from Justin Tucker. That's not a great way to start. I think I might lose to Nathan this week, which is going to be terrible. I have no faith in Brian Robinson anymore. I have no faith in Raheem Mostert, but I kind of have to start him. Guys are starting to slow down, and I'm going to need the superstars to carry me.
You do have to start Taysom Hill because Kraft is on a bye too.
Yeah, week 2 of Taysom.
Without
my ace in the hole, Harvey, my ace in the hole. My ace in the hole of Taysom's playing the Carolina Panthers.
Well, he's playing another division. He's playing the Falcons. We were in the division, so maybe he only shows up for the division games.
They got a new coach. Maybe the new coach likes Taysom. I don't.
How can you not?
Or maybe he's the new coach and he's finally. Well, he is the special teams coordinator, so those guys kind of like the do everything kind of guys. But I am worried that the farther we get away from like the coaching tree that drafted Taysom Hill and like paid him a ton of money, that there's gonna eventually be a coach of the Saints that's like, we're done. We're not playing this guy anymore. That's it. Get rid of him.
Yeah, it is because Nathan doesn't care about his team, but this lineup is pretty good. I don't think it would be a huge upset if you lost, just because I think he's got people here who can put up a good.
No, I mean Tyreek. Now that Tua's back, Tyreek has every chance to just go crazy again. He just hasn't, but it's there. Stefan plays Lucas. This is going to end up being a really good matchup because Lamar played really well and Derrick Henry was mid, like 13 points, 4 under projected. So you would imagine that those two would balance each other out, and Lamar kind of leapfrogged him by a ton. Stefan is projected to win, and Debo might play. So if there's like a good Debo game before he gets injured again.
Yeah, he's got to have at least one.
Sneak a win out of here. That would move him to 4-6, get him even more points, and kind of what I was talking about. If he leapfrogs more into that 7-6 area of the seeding charts for the playoffs, maybe that opens up the bottom for Ross to snag that 8 seed.
Yeah, and no matter what, he's going to put up a big point total this week, which is going to help him, that contingency plan of making the playoffs that way. Lucas could have like a resurgence from DeAndre Hopkins, who I think had a touchdown last week, but that could kind of help boost his receiving core.
They are playing Denver. Denver has Patrick Surtain, who is like lockdown number 1 guy. So it might be kind of like Hopkins was really good last week, but he runs into a really good cornerback this week, and other players play well. So maybe Kelce will make up for that. But I think Lucas might get got this week.
I love him sticking with Bo next to quarterback. He caught a touchdown pass last week. He didn't throw one, but he caught one.
He should get Drake May on his bench and then decide whether or not to play Drake May or Bo Nix the rest of the year. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Because like Drake May runs enough that he's like a viable starting quarterback in fantasy, but his team will always lose. He's like he's kind of like playing Tim Tebow, but Tim Tebow can not throw. Drake May can throw. But they're going to score so few points because their team's so bad that you're kind of just like, he's got to run for 100 yards.
Yeah, that's true. I think Libby mentioned that Lucas needs a quarterback, but I kind of love sticking with Bo Nix just because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Kind of the bottom of the barrel guys for most of the year. Sam versus Ross, a matchup,
Another one
of rivalry week again. Ross is projected to win. He got 18 points basically from Chase Brown, so that's pretty solid. I would imagine that if Chase Brown's doing that, Pollard stays close and continuing to start Jalen Waddle. Ross, what are you doing? There's got to be a wide receiver out there that intrigues Ross at least somewhat to play over Jalen Waddle.
To be fair, DK Metcalf's on a bye, Watson's on a bye. There is not much in the waivers for wide receivers. I don't think he's got a choice.
He's holding two defenses. I'll just say that. Make a decision, Pittsburgh or Philadelphia.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, it's kind of a wasteland. But I'm not saying Waddle's a good choice, but you might not have another one to make. And Sam needs to slide Khalil Shakir in his flex spot, and I think the projection for scoring will still be about even.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to beat Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Sorry, Tom.
Drew versus Wes. This one's going to be pretty tight game. 103-95. Wes has the edge there in the projection. Man, I know Drew's projected for less, but I don't think Tank Bigsby can be that bad again, can he?
I'm surprised that he's projected for that low of a score, and maybe they just can't figure out how to project Etienne versus Bigsby. But they're starting Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is out, so they might have to rely on a run game.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey might be over-projected too at 16.6.
I didn't realize Brian Thomas was slated to play. I guess I thought he was hurt.
Yeah, he must be.
He's in there.
He has a questionable tag.
Limited in practice. Okay.
All right, he might play. Maybe Mac Jones brings him to life.
He's got Lab McConkey in his lineup, so he was listening to us. He put him in there.
Libby is projected to lose to Seth, but he also has a guy on bye in his lineup. Does not look like he's picked up a tight end yet to play over Brock Bowers, but who is he going to drop? That's the question.
That is really tough, and I think that's what makes our league intriguing is because of the bench being reduced, and there's just, especially for if you have to stream a tight end, good luck.
Who? Libby. You might just take the L this week and keep the team.
Though you can get Mike Gesicki, who's I think he's a 10th ranked tight end, and he's on waivers right now, so maybe he's got a claim in there for him.
Yeah, I don't know. That would have gone through today, but maybe he hasn't.
Not yet. I'm just looking right now.
So anybody could go get Mike Gesicki right now if he's still sitting there, because waivers went through this morning or yesterday, right?
I think it was this morning, but maybe there was something else with when he was dropped. Either way, it's a ballsy move to just roll with someone on a bye week. Maybe he can afford it because of how big his record is. I don't know though.
I kind of like it. I would just take the L this week. Just take the L, Libby. Speaking of Libby, one of the weird weeks where we recorded the movie podcast early, our guy Ben Libby was on the show fantasy drafting from the Batman universe. Very good episode that will be up on Monday.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure he talked about his little flock of league members here glowingly, or maybe he didn't mention us at all.
I think I encouraged him, but we kind of buried the league. I went on another rant about how people have left the league because they claim they had not enough time to play fantasy football, which is the dumbest excuse of all time. Just say you don't like losing, or that it's not fun to you anymore. Don't say you
Right.
don't
Yeah.
have-
Just say you're not interested. Because if you are interested, you will probably find the time.
Yeah. I mean, I want to quit every year, but I can at least be honest about it, and it's because I lose every year.
I mean, this has been a very easy year.
Yeah.
Very easy. It's nice to win. So
My Yahoo League the injuries are starting to mount up, and it's not good. I need Nico back. I need Nico back in a bad way.
I don't know if he's going to play this week, but he'll play soon.
Yeah. I think I'm starting Ricky Pearsall in that league currently at wide receiver. Yeah.
All right. I mean, maybe Debo gets hurt and everybody else, and they have no one else to throw to.
Yeah. It's not good. All right.
It's not worth taking.
Yeah, check out the Libby Fantasy Batman draft. It's a lot of fun. Actually relates to fantasy football in that we drafted in a fantasy football like fashion. Very fun show. Moving on to a new franchise after this. We haven't decided yet which one it is. Voting's still open, so go ahead and vote on that if you want.
All right. You heard the man.
Looking forward to Libby and Ross's letter together. Don't know when that'll be out. And now we can close it out.
Football.
Football.